Imagine trying to buy multi-million-dollar homes in a place like Singapore, right?
Yeah.
One of the tightest property markets globally. But instead of following the rules, you try to find, well, a clever workaround.
That's pretty much what happened in this really fascinating case we're looking at today. It involves a Singaporean woman and several foreign buyers. So today we're diving deep into this whole legal saga, the specific rules, how they were tested, and the pretty significant fallout.
Exactly. And our mission here really is to unpack the details of what went down. We want to understand why it was such a clear violation, and maybe most importantly, pull out the key lessons for anyone involved in international property deals, especially around legal compliance.
Right. So let's start with the who and the what. Who were the main players here?
Okay, so at the center, you have Song Ailing. She's a 55-year-old Singaporean citizen.
Okay.
And then on the other side, 3 Chinese nationals. The reports don't name them. And the crucial bit, they weren't Singapore permanent residents, definitely not citizens, when these properties were bought. And what properties were we talking about? Big deals.
Yeah, 3 semi-detached houses, landed property, which is key in Singapore.
Ah, landed property. Okay, so what was the actual plan? How did they structure this?
Well, the core idea, the scheme, was that the properties were bought using Song's name. Officially, she's the owner.
Right.
But, and this is critical, she was meant to be holding them on trust for the foreign buyers. It wasn't just some informal nod.
Oh, so like a formal arrangement.
Yes, very formal. One source actually mentions a specific trust deed. And get this, the deed apparently spelled out that the real ownership, the beneficial interest, would only transfer to the foreigner if and when they became a Singapore citizen.
Wow. Okay, that sounds intricate. But also like they were trying really hard to look legal while maybe not be.
Precisely. It was a structured attempt to seem like they were following the rules on the surface.
So with that kind of setup, what specific Singaporean law did this run up against? What were they trying to get around?
It all comes down to Singapore's Residential Property Act, the RPA. Specifically, Section 25, subsection 4. That part is basically designed to stop exactly this kind of thing.
And what does it say in simple terms?
Simply put, foreigners generally can't buy landed residential property in Singapore without getting special permission from the minister. Explicit approval.
Okay, clear enough.
And the act makes it a criminal offense for a Singaporean citizen to buy property as a nominee, like acting as a stand-in for a foreigner, just to sidestep those rules. It's black and white.
So the nominee part is the illegal action here.
Exactly.
How do the authorities then prove that Song was acting as a nominee? Was the money trail clear?
Oh, absolutely. The evidence was pretty stark, it seems. Song received over 11.4 million Singapore dollars.
Wow.
And that funding came directly from the foreign buyers to pay for these houses. It wasn't her money. That direct flow of funds made it crystal clear she wasn't the real buyer, just the nominee. It showed the intent.
Right, the money trail tells the story. So it's a clear violation. What happened then? What were the consequences, especially for Song?
Well, it got serious. Song faced 3 charges under the RPA. She eventually pleaded guilty to 1 charge.
Okay. And what about the money? That $11.4 million.
Well, the authorities didn't just stop with the charges against Song. They moved to forfeit $1.6 million linked to the case.
So a significant financial hit, too.
Definitely. And this case really hammers home a few crucial points for anyone watching. First, nominee setups like this, clearly illegal. Second, using a trust, that fancy legal structure. It gives you 0 protection from criminal charges under the RPA.
That's a big one. The trust doesn't shield you.
Not at all. And third, the authorities take this very seriously. They'll pursue it, and they can go after the money even after the deal seems done. That's a strong message.
Yeah, it really is.
So for you, the listener, this case really busts the myth that you can just use, clever trusts or local friends to get around strict property laws. It highlights just how strict Singapore's legal environment is and how little tolerance they have for these kinds of workarounds. Doesn't matter how much money you have, you're not above the law.
So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for anyone thinking about buying property internationally?
I think the core lesson is just undeniable, really. Trying to use nominee arrangements to navigate complicated foreign property laws. It's not just illegal, it's incredibly risky. Financially and legally for everyone involved.
Don't try to be too clever, basically.
Pretty much. And this Singapore case, it's not just about Singapore. It underlines a universal point. You have to fully understand and respect local laws when you operate across borders.
Makes sense.
And it leaves you with a question, doesn't it? In this world of increasing global deals, How do you make sure you're not just following the rules, but truly understanding the local landscape to avoid these kinds of costly, complex messes? Something to think about.